Thought Bubble Audio.
Look, up in the sky!
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Welcome to Beer with Geeks with Tim and Frank.
Who are you?
I'm Batman.
I am Iron Man.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Hi, Christopher. I'm Nero.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
You're a wizard, Harry.
A couple of guys with a couple of beers and a whole lot of pop culture nostalgia.
Make it so, number one.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
I named the dog Indiana.
Life finds a way.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Now sit back and crack open a cold one, because it's time for Beer with Geeks.
It comes in paints.
Shaken, not stirred.
Great Scott!
I was way off. I knew it started with an S, though.
Hi, and welcome to Beer with Geeks, where two geeks geek out with beer. I'm Tim, and with me, as always, is my man who loves to make some choices. It's Frank. How are you today?
Nervous. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. How you doing?
I'm doing quite well, Frank. How are you?
I'm nervous about these choices I apparently need to make.
Oh, you're gonna make the choices.
Oh boy.
Yeah, which we'll get into a little bit later. Don't get nervous now, but tell me what you're drinking.
I am drinking an IPA from Great Rhythm Brewing in Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
Okay.
I just discovered this one this week, and it's quite good. It's citrusy and a little bit of caramel.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I do love caramel.
Yeah, it's got some orange flavor to it, a little bit of like a toasted caramel hint to it, and then sort of a grapefruit. So it's like sort of orange and grapefruit. It's got a little bit of the orange sweetness and the grapefruit bitterness at the same time, and it's quite good. I like it a lot. Apparently, this is one of their seasonals. So I like it a lot. It is a good IPA, and I do recommend it. I am enjoying it. So got a couple of these to get through over the next few days. How about yourself? What are you drinking today?
Nice. I'm drinking a Sam Adams Porch Rocker, which is out of season. I just
Very much so.
have two left in my fridge, and
Nice.
I need to drink them before they go bad. So I'm having one now, and I'll probably have the other one after
Nice.
this, just so it's actually gone from my fridge.
Very nice.
Nothing too spectacular over here.
You know what's funny? My wife and I were having beers on a patio outdoors the other day, and I realized, looking at the menu at that place, the beer menu, that I had not had an Oktoberfest in the entire month of October. The month of October is gone,
Really?
and I did not have a single Oktoberfest beer during that entire month. So I made a point of ordering one then that they still had on tap. But yeah, isn't that wild? I just totally spaced on Oktoberfests for the month of October.
Well, that is wild. Actually, it's wild.
Wild and crazy.
Wild
But
and crazy guy.
You have a surprise topic for me. So I don't know what we're about to do, but all I know is the tease you just gave at the beginning, which is I have to make choices, and you know how I feel about that.
I know, but you'll understand when we get rolling. So when we said what should we talk about tonight? I've been in a wicked, super terrific, anyway, Star Wars mood for the past week or so. Like,
Nice.
I just can't, you just go through cycles where you're just really into a thing for a particular time, right? And I think maybe since The Mandalorian came back, I think that's probably what's done it for me. I'm just like back in my like, Star Wars is the greatest thing that's ever happened to the planet Earth. Let's do this.
Sure.
And so I thought, okay, well, I just don't want to just randomly talk about Star Wars. I want some kind of direction for us, and so I thought, all right, so like I'm just going to ask you a series of questions. And I'm like, no, that's boring. And so I came up with this game, which is just a series of questions, but it's called That's So Wizard, Annie.
I like where this is going. Okay.
And you have to tell me, out of the 3 options that I'll give you on the question, what's the most wizard out of all of them?
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
That's I can get down with that. All right.
Yep. Now, just so you know, my questions are stupid, and that is the third. So it's not just like, I don't know, like, what ship do you want to drive? Obviously, it's the Millennium Falcon.
Duh.
Like, everyone shut up. Yeah. Right. Except, actually, I think I'd probably choose Padme's queen,
Naboo.
the Naboo cruiser, because that is nice.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah, but anyway, so my questions are stupid. I have 15 of them here, and then if they prompt conversation, like, that's the whole point, because otherwise, if I ask 15 questions immediately, like, we don't have anything else to talk about.
That's not much of a show. We got to give the people a show.
No, exactly. So, 15 questions. I definitely included all the movies. And The Mandalorian, and I didn't include Rebels or Clone Wars because we're just not as completely up on them as I'd like to be.
Sure.
And so I'm sticking to the live action Star Wars here. Okay.
I dig it.
All right, here we go. Who's the most wizard C-3PO? My pots are showing C-3PO. Battle droid head C-3PO or Chewbacca's backpack C-3PO.
Oh, okay. My parts are showing. I mean, I'm gonna say immediately. I'm gonna rule out the episode 2 missing head. Just episode 2. Yeah, episode 2.
Yeah, that was episode 2. Yeah,
that whole sequence always just rubs me the wrong way. It's just a little.
I was made for protocol, not destruction.
Right. Although it is funny when he like slips into the battle droid voice for a second. There's like, oh dear, like actually, now that I think about it, for that moment when he talks like the battle droid, he's like, take that, suckers, or whatever he says.
Yeah. Jedi scum.
That is kind of what 3PO was supposed to sound like at the beginning, because he was supposed to have like a used car salesman kind of voice. It was not supposed to be a British butler until he was going to replace George Lucas was going to replace Anthony Daniels' voice.
Right.
But then when he heard him, he was like, this actually works great. We're keeping this.
I think people actually convinced him to keep Anthony Daniels too. Like, he was gonna like get rid of him. Like, I don't care if he's good. And everyone was like, "Shut up, George. Just keep him."
Yeah,
it works.
It works, and it transformed the character and made it something even better than I think he was hoping. But anyway, just thinking about it, for that second, he kind of is sort of that original, the original archetype that George wanted him to be. No, I'm gonna go with the backpack is the most wizard.
Backpack's the most wizard.
I think that's the most wizard. My parts are showing is fine. It's funny. I like him in that movie, but for what little we got to see of him in that movie. But I definitely think that the backpack is the most wizard version of 3PO. Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, those are the most broken down ones, because there's regular old like wizard C3PO. There's literally wizard C3PO. Right, Return of the Jedi wizard C-3PO.
Sure. Yes.
There's that. There's you may not recognize me because of the red arm. But
I was kind of thinking you were going to go red arm as one of the options. So that's
I
funny.
almost did, but then I got the idea for Chewbacca's backpack, and so that I made these like 10 minutes before we started recording.
Nice.
So some of them might not make sense. So we'll find out.
That is totally fair. But yes, I think that Chewbacca's backpack is the most wizard.
All right, good call. I agree with you. I'll answer these questions as well, just to keep it going. Which Skywalker has the best lightsaber? Anakin Skywalker, Luke Skywalker, or Rey Skywalker?
Well, they all had the same lightsabers, so no, I'm kidding.
Good. I'm glad that you got where my brain was going, because
cool.
you'd be like, but they all used the same one.
I'm assuming the question is designed to make me think of Luke's green one and then Rey's
yellow one.
The yellow one at the end of
actually, the question was designed to make you think of the same lightsaber,
okay.
But I would like you to choose out of the 3 different ones.
I mean, Anakin's is the quintessential prototypical lightsaber that every kid played with as a kid growing up watching Star Wars, especially up to this point in the year 2020 when all of us who are adults grew up in a period where there was either only the original trilogy or maybe the prequel trilogy as well in our case. That's the best known lightsaber, I think. So that's the one that is the most wizard almost by default because it was used by a bunch of wizards. So yeah, I don't know. I'm going to go with that one, although I do really like Luke's green one too. Okay. There was something because that was when that was revealed in Return of the Jedi, that was where I got the understanding that Jedi build their own lightsaber.
Right.
I didn't know that. I don't know if that was really...
You couldn't just go to the store and get one.
Right. I didn't know if it was like an Ollivanders situation where you go in and you pick the one that calls out to you.
The lightsaber chooses the space wizard.
Right. Yeah. The kyber crystal inside of it calls out to you or whatever. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I had no idea where they came from. Was it just issued to you, like when you join the army? Like here's your weapon. Right. So yeah, when I saw that green one for the first time, and Vader's like, "I see you've constructed a new lightsaber." I don't know why I just made him sound like Sean Connery, but.
Yeah. Wow, what a version of Vader that would be. Yeah.
But
now
yeah.
Go, my son. Leave me. I don't know why that's the line I went with.
Tell your sister you were right.
Yeah. Don't choke on your own aspirations. Yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, no, Anakin's is the OG, and I'm gonna say that's the most wizard lightsaber.
Okay, that's cool. I actually hate Anakin's lightsaber. Fun fact.
Really?
I think it just not from a kind of from a design point of view because it's like a piece of a camera.
Yeah.
But I just like it's hard to hold. It's neither like squat nor long. The big button is in the middle of it, so you can't really ever get a good grip on it. It's just like as a weapon, it's actually really hard to use, and so I don't really care for it. And I'm going in a weird direction, and I like Rey's the best.
The design of hers is super cool.
I like that it's her staff, so it's like a part of it's a part of her past. It represents her future. The flick on instead of the big button is really cool.
Yeah,
that's really really cool. And so I really like Rey's.
Good answer.
And then Luke's green, and then Anakin's.
Okay,
yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. Not any of these Skywalkers, but what is the most wizard lightsaber for you? What is actual like if you couldn't do Anakin's
out of all of them?
Anybody's Ahsoka's or Kanan's or Kyle Katarn's or
probably Mace Windu.
Okay, yeah.
I do love the Mace Windu one, and I actually also really like Asajj Ventress's.
Oh yeah, hers are cool.
And like we just like have to mention Darth Maul, obviously.
Yeah.
But I really like Ventress and Mace Windu's.
Yep. Okay, those are solid choices. Mace has got a really cool one.
Yeah.
I really like Darth Sidious's lightsaber. Like they're really small, which is cool. They're like iPhone mini small. Yeah. I'm gonna hold them in the palm of my hand, and they're very ornate, which I think is pretty cool. It says a lot about him as a person.
Yes,
that they're so ornate because Jedi. If you look at most Jedi lightsabers, they're pretty utilitarian. They're like, I built it to be a lightsaber. It doesn't need to be anything. And his has like filigree on it and like all this stuff that it's pretty cool. Dooku, of course, you got to mention the curved lightsaber.
Yes.
Same with Asajj Ventress. And I like Darth Maul's new lightsaber with like the little hook at the top, like the lightsaber guard almost. That one's cool too. Anyway, all right, so who's the most wizard Obi-Wan Kenobi? Padawan Obi-Wan, Jedi Knight Obi-Wan, or Jedi Master Obi-Wan? Do Recall, Padawan Obi-Wan split Darth Maul in half.
I know. That's like a Padawan Obi-Wan definitely is no slouch. I think I'm going to say Jedi just to define
when I say
terms real
Jedi
quick,
Master, I mean Revenge of the Sith Obi-Wan.
Revenge of the Sith. Okay, so we're not talking old Ben. We're talking We're talking episode 1, 2, or 3.
That is
essentially. Okay, then that does change my answer, and I'm going to say Jedi Master, episode 3, Obi-Wan. I love him at like the height of his powers. I love him as the thing that was always so cool to me about Obi-Wan, or about Ben, let's say, in the original trilogy, was the mystery behind him and what he would have been like as a younger man, and what he would have been like in his heyday. And so getting to see him first as a Padawan, where he's already at the end of his internship, and he's ready for the trials, Master. And then in episode 2, I loved his interactions with Anakin and everything in episode 2, but by episode 3, he is, as at the height of his powers. He is kicking butt, and I love watching him take down Grievous. So uncivilized. Hello there. All of that. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So I am firmly in the Jedi Master Obi-Wan camp. What about you, though?
I agree. Jedi Master Obi-Wan is generally, to me, the coolest. Jedi Knight Obi-Wan is probably the weakest. Out of the three. So Jedi Padawan Obi-Wan defeats Darth Maul, does the whole thing. He's kind of mean to Anakin, but it's fine. He gets over it. But Jedi Knight Obi-Wan makes some weird choices. He gets captured a lot. Doesn't defeat Jango or Dooku, and he's just kind of stuck and gets hurt a lot. It's
middle chapters. It's middle chapter syndrome. He has to keep losing. He has to keep getting knocked down.
Exactly. But Jedi Master Obi-Wan rescues the Chancellor, defeats Grievous, defeats Anakin. There's a lot going for Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi. Next question: who's the most wizard Ben Kenobi? See what I did there? Herbert.
Herbie. Final answer, Herbie.
Hermit Ben Kenobi, voice only ghost Ben Kenobi, or spectral apparition Ben Kenobi.
Hermit Ben Kenobi takes down Darth Vader. Doesn't take down Darth Vader, but
I believe Darth Vader takes
him down, but then he becomes more powerful than you could ever imagine.
That's true.
And he deactivates the Death Star, tractor beam, and he sets Luke out on his journey. I definitely have the most connection to that version of Ben. I guess that version of Ben has the most screen time. So that's, I got to go with that. Astral projection Ben is cool and all, but I still, since the age of 8 or 9 or whatever, still haven't quite gotten over so what I told you was true from a certain point of view. I'm like, come on.
See, that to me is why he's my favorite one.
He's
spectral spectral apparition Obi-Wan is just Luke, you have to go. He doesn't tell you enough. He's like Jacob Marley. I'm not gonna give you all of the info, and then when you ask about it, I'm gonna be like, oh well, whatever.
Be real cagey about it all of a sudden.
I'm gonna be super cagey about it because I'm a ghost. Voice only ghost Ben Kenobi is interesting because I thought it was a tweet or a meme, I can't remember, and it was Luke's about to blow up the Death Star and Obi-Wan's oh, by the way, ghosts are real, use the Force, Luke.
But I don't want to distract you or anything, but just to let you know,
no, ghosts are real. There's a lot happening in that moment.
That's true. That's a lot to process. You're trying to hit an opening 2 meters wide, and all of a sudden a ghost appears. The voice of a ghost.
Yeah, that's right.
You got this, kid.
You got it. Okay. Next, most wizard Mandalorian: Jango, Boba, or Din Djarin? Jin, the Mando.
Most wizard Mandalorian. Okay. I kind of want to say Mando.
Yeah, I think it's Mando. I think Jango and Boba go out like chumps.
Especially Boba. Or
yeah,
does
poor
he?
Boba.
But
Yeah.
I gotta say Mando, just because he is, first of all, he's of those three, he's the only one who is a true Mandalorian, in the sense that he's actually part of the, like, I don't know, order that calls themselves Mandalorians. Whereas Jango and Boba, I think, were just wearing the armor, but not actually part of that, like, lineage of.
Yeah, it's gone in so many different directions that I'm actually looking forward to Mandalorian, like, definitively giving me that answer, because I just don't know. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's my Mando is my answer to that one. Yeah. I think he is the most wizard. He kicks the most butt in my opinion.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, I agree. Django, follow up to that though. I think Boba's the weakest.
I would agree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but not to underestimate Django, who, like, essentially is the clone troopers.
Yes,
so
that's true.
Which are cool. So, so there you go.
Very true. Very true.
Speaking of clone troopers, what Star Wars trilogy has the most wizard stormtrooper armor, or at least trooper armor? The prequel trilogy, original trilogy, or the sequel trilogy?
Oh, this is a good one. Okay. The most wizard, the armor, not the troopers themselves.
That's right. Just aesthetically what they look like.
I'm going to say sequel trilogy has the coolest looking and the coolest, like, variations on it, right? Like, original trilogy, we got a little bit of, like, all right, you got the sand troopers with the orange, chin rest on their shoulder or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But and then in the prequels, we really only saw the clone armor, right?
That's right. Which, so that sometimes it's blue, sometimes it's
they
sometimes
personalize
it's blue or
it,
yellow. They personalize it on the show.
You've got Rex and Cody and all of them who personalize their
fins, no fins,
right. But it's essentially the same thing throughout, pretty much. You see, I guess in Clone Wars, the show, you see some variations on that, some more variations. But if we're just talking the movies, just talking the trilogies, then I'm going to have to say sequel, because we see so many cool variations on that armor that we don't really see anywhere else. And I kind of like the sleek look of the sequel of the First Order troopers. It's less in the original trilogy, let's just looking at, like, the eye lenses, right? They were like two circles. And then in the prequels, they were a little bit more, it was more of, like, sharp edges.
It's almost a Mandalorian-esque.
Yeah. Like a visor with, like, sharp edges. And then in the sequel trilogy, it's a little sleeker. There's still sharp edges to the eyepieces and stuff, but there's more curved lines around things, and I like that look. It's more of our time.
Yes.
But that's been the case throughout. Like, they always design these things to be sort of what looks cool and modern and hip at that time. What looked cool in the 70s, what looked cool in the early 2000s, what looks cool now. So maybe that's just the bias showing there, but I super dig the new troopers from the sequels.
Me too. And I even the color variations and the sequel trilogy also give you, like, they give you Death Troopers and Sith Troopers, and there's, like, a lot of really cool stuff. I mean, the original ones, they basically give you what you said, and like speeder bike, biker troopers.
Yeah, that's right.
Which actually really like that helmet. It's cool, but it's different. It's so drastically different from the Stormtrooper outfit.
And it's very 80s too, right? Like, again, it's very much of its time again.
Yeah. Oh, the bikers are cool. It's the 80s. You're absolutely right. Sequel trilogy, aesthetically, just wins out. Who is the most wizard Sith Lord? Not yet face damaged Palpatine, Emperor Palpatine, or Clone Palpatine?
I mean, not yet face damaged. We get to see him do the coolest stuff. Although, as I'm saying that, I'm starting to take it back. But no, I think that not yet face
damaged. Face damaged Palpatine is the one that fights Yoda.
Yeah, I know. That's exactly what made me pause.
He's already the Emperor at that point.
Right. Yeah. Right. But I think Chancellor, not yet Emperor, like the way that blood curdling scream he lets out in his office as he, like, jumps across and to fight Mace Windu and them. That is just like, what the hell did we just what beast from the bowels of hell was just unleashed.
I do believe you unleashed the Senate, Frank. Yeah.
yes. Very good. Very, very good. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm going to go with Mark 1. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I not yet face damage Palpatine is my favorite. I think Emperor Palpatine is creepy as all get out, and it's cool looking, and Clone Palpatine is actually also creepy as all get out.
Yeah.
And I dug the aesthetics of Clone Palpatine a lot, but not yet damaged Palpatine is definitely my favorite. It's kind of like Darth Vader versus Anakin, height of his powers, kind of.
Yes.
Sort of.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, his machinations. Which wizard character shouts the most? R2-D2, Finn, or Jar Jar Binks?
So the assumption here being they're all wizard. They're all
cool.
wizard.
They're all wizard, Annie.
But who shouts the most?
Who shouts the most? This is where I started to lose, like, which one's the most wizard. You'll see as it goes back to it, but it'll lose it. It'll lose that thread.
You
as
lost
we
the
go.
groove for a minute and then came back.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, Stella will get her groove back. Don't worry.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Who shouts the most objectively? It's probably R2. I feel like he's constantly shouting something.
Probably because he has the most screen time over the course of many films.
True, but sort of per capita or per screen minute. I don't know. I mean, you said Finn is number 2, right?
Finn is number 2. Yeah.
I mean, the amount, Ray. He's always just shouting people's names, mostly Ray's name. He does a fair bit of that, and then Jar Jar shouts a lot during the Battle of Naboo. I guess he's kind of just shouting a lot when they're on Tatooine, and he's just sort of, I don't know, complaining a lot and all that. But I think it's R2. I think R2 is like the most chronic complainer. I think he's just he's like the toddler that you bring along on the road trip, and he's just constantly like none of his needs are being met, and he's like, are we there yet? And I'm hungry, and it's hot in here, and now it's too cold in here, and my jacket's uncomfortable, and do I have to wear this seatbelt? And he's just a whiner, and he's always shouting about something.
It's true. Okay, so next question. Who is, out of R2 and Chewbacca, who shouts the most?
Oh, that's Chewie.
Yeah, I think
that's
Chewie. Chewie, actually, I originally had Chewie before R2-D2, and I subbed it for R2. But I think it's Chewie. I think Chewie is the most, the shouterist.
Yeah,
good.
I think
okay. So. All right. We're doing well on time here. Which of the following is the most wizard pod racer? Sebulba, Anakin Skywalker, or Ben Quadraneros?
Yes, I was hoping you would say Ben Quadraneros. I actually weirdly really like Ben Quadraneros. Like,
I know.
Why do I like him? With his little his collar that's that's popped. And he's I do like him visually as a character. But is he the most wizard? I don't know. Sebulba, Chesko Sebulba he's obviously the, I don't know. He's the favorite, clearly, for the race. He's the all-star of the bunch. But does he have the goods? I mean, I guess normally he's a winner. But at the end of it, he's just sitting there in his pod in the middle of the Tatooine desert, shouting "Poodoo." So, technically, Anakin bested him with a pod that he built himself as a 9-year-old with scraps from a junkyard. And at his first
Anakin
race,
Skywalker built this in a cave. With a box of scraps.
Oh my gosh! But really,
yeah, it's
really,
true though.
And he beat the all-star favorite. I mean, I gotta say that Annie is so wizard. Annie.
Yeah, he is wizard Annie. I agree. Oh, I just love Ben Quadraneros.
I do love Ben Quadraneros, though. I really do.
Okay. Most wizard Yoda, wisdom Yoda, lightsaber Yoda, or eats Luke's food, a.k.a. sassy Yoda.
How you get so big eating food of this kind? Yoda, you seek Yoda. Take you to him, I will. Mine.
I do so love that version of Yoda so much. Like, that makes me, every time I watch Empire, that makes me so happy and giddy. It just makes me smile. That he's being such an impish little troublemaker, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And especially because, like, 10 seconds later he becomes, what'd you call him? Wisdom Yoda?
Wisdom Yoda.
Mm-hmm. You know, he becomes very wise, and especially then in Return of the Jedi, he's on his deathbed, but he's very, very wise and gives a lot of insight to Luke. But I do love. I'm sorry, what was the third one you mentioned? Wisdom
Eats Luke's food, a.k.a. sassy Yoda. Oh, lightsaber Yoda.
Lightsaber Yoda. Yeah, that one. To see him jumping around, first Dooku and then the Emperor. When I saw him jumping around Dooku like that, like just the seconds leading up to when it was clear that Yoda was pulling out his lightsaber and we were about to see him fight with a lightsaber for the first time, like my eyes widened and I sat back in my chair and I was just like, oh my god, it's happening. And that probably had the biggest shock factor impact on me, seeing him do that and seeing him like jump around like a little frog. So I think that's the most wizard. I think that's like the coolest the coolest version of Yoda. If I'm taking wizard to mean like badass and cool and like,
oh sure, yeah.
So like, I love that. But now if wizard literally means like a wizard, well then it's wisdom Yoda. But no, I'm giving it to lightsaber Yoda.
Okay, that's cool. I mean, if you take wizard as that's badass, then it's definitely, I think it is lightsaber Yoda. But I just can't help but love sassy Yoda.
Oh man,
like,
I love sassy Yoda.
All versions, even in Last Jedi, where Luke's like the sacred Jedi texts, and he like hits him on the head. He's like, "Oh, read them, have you?"
Yeah.
I
love that we got more of that version of Yoda in the sequels. Like thank you, Rian Johnson, for that alone.
Well, what I really like about prequel Yoda, wisdom Yoda, really, is that he's feeling the darkness that's kind of creeping in, and it's reflective in how he's really not the fun, impish character that we knew him to be, and so like his seriousness reflects the seriousness of his times.
That's
which
true.
which I really like, which is cool.
One little moment in the prequels where we do get to see sort of the sassy Yoda, just a hint. Is when he's got all the Padawans and they're trying to help Obi-Wan figure out where the missing planet is, and why this isn't on the charts. I love when he says, "Truly wonderful the mind of a child is." I love that he's using the Padawans to like teach Obi-Wan a lesson. Like, you're thinking too big. Like, take it down, simplify. You know, Occam's razor. The simplest answer must be the true one. And I love the way that his teaching method. It's wisdom Yoda with a little hint of sassy Yoda at the same time, and I love that. I love that combination.
Yeah. I know that. I agree that it is a great combination. Funny that you should mention that scene, because my next question is, which is the most wizard child in Star Wars? Liam, the shades, Kickster.
Yep.
Or Master Skywalker. What are we going to do?
You're gonna die. That's what you're gonna do, kid.
Yeah.
Okay, Liam.
I mean, the fake answer is D. It's Baby Yoda, but like, like that's like he's 50, so we can't count that. All right. So.
Exactly. I like Kitster. Like I find Kitster very. I'm curious about what happened to Kitster. You know, beyond the Phantom Menace. Probably worth mentioning here that Jimmy Mack from Rebel Force Radio, who's been on this program, We talked Superman with us a few months ago. Jimmy Mack started a campaign, hashtag Where's Kitster? Because he's been on this for like 10 years. I'm not joking. Where he's like, whatever happened to Kitster? I want Kitster action figures. I want a Kitster cardboard cutout. I want all this Kitster stuff. And we never saw him again. So like, it is funny whenever he gets someone from Lucasfilm on Rebel Force Radio, he'll ask them, okay. And, last question, where's Kitster? And I just love that. So and Kitster is the one who says, that's so wizard, Annie. So
I know. I had to include him in here.
I feel like that's the appropriate answer. And I think it stands up. I think Kitster is the most wizard.
Yeah, I'd probably say Kitster as well, though I really do love Master Skywalker. What are we going to do?
Poor kid.
Just because that kid's a pretty good actor, and I give him credit.
Did you see if like maybe a year or two ago that kid met Hayden Christensen at a convention for the first time since they shot
see that. Yeah. That's pretty great. I love that. Del Rey is putting out those from a certain point of view.
Oh yes, that's right.
Books, and so I wonder if by the time we get to Phantom Menace, they'll do a Kitster version.
I would love that.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's see. The most wizard junker. The skimmers from The Last Jedi. Luke's X-Wing immediately following its time in the swamp on Dagobah. Or the Millennium Falcon with no hyperdrive.
I mean, it's an easy answer to give it to the Falcon.
Sure.
But I think I have to give it to the Falcon.
Yeah, okay. That's fine.
Because
I actually tried really hard not to do the Falcon, but I was running out of, like, cruddy,
junk ships.
Cruddy ships. Yeah.
I mean, the Falcon, even with its crapped out hyperdrive, it still gets them to safety. And part of that is Han's ability to navigate, but still, I just, maybe this is my, every kid's love of the Millennium Falcon showing, and I still have that from when I was a kid, but I think it's the Falcon. What, did you have another answer?
No, I think it's the Falcon too. As much as I like the other ships, it's probably always the Falcon.
Yeah.
But that's okay. That's why I said it was really hard to choose something that wasn't the Falcon. But it really is at its most, and it is a junker. What a piece of junk.
Yeah.
So that's good. All right. I have 3 questions left.
Okay.
What's the most wizard creature you want to see more of? You say I lost the thread here. So what's the most wizard creature we don't see the whole body for here? That's a better way of phrasing the question. Okay. The Dianoga, which is the trash compactor creature.
Yes. The
dragon snake, which is the creature that eats R2 on Dagobah. Or the crate dragon, which we just saw a part of on The Mandalorian.
I kind of feel like it's the Dianoga. The Dianoga's always, again, that's another one of those ones that's always been like on my mind, always made me curious. So really, like, to answer your question in sort of the strictest, most straightforward way, I do think it's the Dianoga. It's the one that I have, for the longest period of time, wanted to see more of, like physically see more of. So yeah, that one's actually kind of an easy one for me. That's okay. That's one that I've always sort of felt that way.
Good answer. You look at it and go, how does it work? I would really like to see the dragon snake myself, because you really only see the back of it.
Yep. That's fair.
And a tiny little ridge, and I just want to know what it looks like. But I mean, you hear the word dragon snake, and you're like, it probably looks like a giant snake.
I mean, yeah, I guess that's true. It was really cool to see more of the crate dragon, though. I'm really glad they brought that back. I always thought, also, by the way, in The Last Jedi, when I had heard, in spoiler, I wasn't spoiled for The Last Jedi, so this was a spoiler-free thing that I read, but I'd heard something that there was going to be a planet called Crate, and that's the planet at the end with the red dust, the red sand. And I thought, Crate, like that must be, because I heard it said, probably on Rebel Force Radio, I heard it said and didn't read it. So I was like, Crate, that must be like the Crate Dragon. That must be where Crate Dragons come from. No, different planet, different spelling, different nothing in common. No relation. But yeah, I just, that was my first thought when I heard, oh, the planet Crate. I was like, oh, cool, they're tying it to the Crate Dragon.
That's cool. I didn't make that connection until the Mandalorian episode where I was like, Crate Dragon, huh? That's interesting. I've like, you couldn't use a different name, huh?
I know. I thought that was interesting.
Interesting choice. All right. The most wizard height challenged alien.
Mm-hmm.
The Jawas, the caretakers, which are the fish nuns from The Last Jedi.
Sure.
Or the Ugnaughts, which are the weird little creatures that put Han Solo in carbonite.
Right. And Queel from season 1 of The Mandalorian is an Ugnaught.
Yes, he is. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good call. Yes, that's right.
Yeah. I have spoken. Yes. I mean, the Jawas are so mischievous little bastards. I do love the fish nuns. The fish nuns are just like, they're so bizarre looking and so like their physicality, the way they move. I assume those were practical, like it was a costume.
Yes,
but
they were. Yeah.
they looked like it. So sort of the way that they kind of move like Michael Keaton's Batman, like they have to kind of turn their whole body to turn their head.
Yeah.
And I always found that kind of funny and amusing. Just their whole deal of like looking like nuns but being sort of fish creatures. I always found the caretakers interesting for that reason. And the Ugnaughts, as much as I do love Queel and I do love Empire, they're cool, but they never really sort of did it for me. I'm gonna go with the Jawas, just because they, as much as they are troublemakers and they do a lot of bad stuff, they're pretty wizard. And I'm going to give a special shout out to the Gamorrean guards, who are also height challenged, and I think are pretty cool. The guards from Jabba's palace, little like,
you think they're height challenged?
Aren't they? They seem like
so.
Aren't they shorter than Luke when he walks in and he sort of?
They are shorter than Luke.
Yeah, when he gives him the Jedi mind trick to leave him alone, I feel they're height challenged enough. Anyway,
I've not really ever thought about that. Oh man, yeah, I like the Gamorrean guards.
Yeah.
Okay, last question.
Okay.
Who's the most wizard Anakin Skywalker? Now this is pod racing Anakin Skywalker. I don't like sand Anakin Skywalker. Or no, it's because I'm so in love with you, Anakin Skywalker.
Very, very terrible choices. Each one, I was like, okay, that's going to be the bottom of the list. Okay, no, this one's going to be the bottom. No, this one's the bottom of the list. Oh, God. Okay. No, I'm so in love with you is definitely the bottom of the list.
Yeah, it is the worst. Yeah, not love, just the way, the line, the delivery, all of it's not good.
Nope. Anakin being in love, I have no problem with. It's not like on principle or anything like that. It's just that I don't like that. I don't like that version. Then sand. Yeah. See, between the love and the sand, those are hard. I'm gonna say the bottom of the list is no, it's because I'm so in love with you. Then number 2 would be sand. I hate sand. It's coarse and rough, and it gets everywhere. And top of the list is, now this is pod racing. Now this is podcasting.
Oh, good stuff.
Because at least he's a child and he's having just like pure, it's a pure moment, right? He's a kid. He's having pure fun. He's on the biggest adventure that you could dream of at that age, right? Like he's flying out
of any
there.
age, really.
Really. Yeah. I mean, he had more adventures after that, but up to that point in his life, holy crap. He probably thought that was his life had peaked and he was going to go downhill from there. But
he kind of does based on your ranking of these lists.
Fair. Yeah. But yeah, I guess that's fair. I mean, he had this moment where he was fighting.
He was pod racing, quote unquote, and
then he's sand, and then he's in love. But yeah, no, I'm gonna put that at the top of the list because I think that's the most interesting and the most like pure So I'm gonna call that the most wizard, just sort of, I guess by default, because I dislike the other two so much.
Yeah, I'm not positive. I'm not positive if now this is pod racing Anakin is the most wizard. Technically, he does the most wizard thing at this moment, which is, he blows up the Trade Federation ship. But here's, for me, I don't like sand, I think, is the most wizard Anakin. Even though the line is dumb,
okay,
and the delivery's dumb, and the preceding lines are dumb, all of this list is dumb.
Yes.
So, but he doesn't like sand for a very particular reason, and it's not just because he doesn't like Tatooine or doesn't like sand. Sand is oppression, right? Sand is a reminder of his time as a slave. It's coarse and it's rough. He's not really just talking about sand. He's talking about what it was like to be a slave on Tatooine. And he says, but not here. Here everything's smooth. And he's talking about his time with Padme in a really weird and creepy way as he pets her back. But all the more still, she is the freedom from his oppression, right? That's really what he's saying, without saying it, because Anakin's not really a wordsmith, and neither is George Lucas. So I don't like sand has a super deep meaning that goes beyond I don't like sand, and so because Anakin is doing his best to express himself, in this way, I actually going to give it to I don't like sand, Anakin.
Okay, this has been Professor Star Wars Corner with Tim.
Yeah, Professor Ugnut. This has been Dr. Mandible's Star Wars Corner.
Dr. Mandible. I love that name. I've heard a lot of people saying they're not sure, was that his real name? Now, on IMDb and in the credits, that's his name. But go with me here. Could it be that okay, either that's his real name, is really Dr. Mandible, or could it be that that's what the Amy Sedaris character just sort of calls him as like a loving nickname, oh yeah, get a load of Dr. Mandible over here, get a load of Professor Comics over here.
So here's the thing: my first instinct to say that's Amy Sedaris' character saying oh, it's Dr. Mandible over here, except that Admiral Akbar is a calamari.
Yes.
Okay,
that's right. That's right.
So I want to say, so there's evidence to support it, not that is actually his name, because that is kind of what Star Wars does.
That's true.
And I'm good with either version, truthfully.
Yeah. That's fair. Yeah. I honestly, I think his name is Dr. Mandible. It was just, in fact, I took it at face value. But then when someone later on a podcast proposed the idea that what if that's just her funny nickname for him, that just amused me. But I do think that's his real name. Yeah.
Well, I mean, she says Amy Sedaris' character just kind of says things, right? And,
that's it.
So, yeah. So yeah. So I do not know. But anyway, Frank, this has been That's So Wizard, Annie, or What's So Wizard, Annie, whatever I decided to call it. What's So Wizard. That's So Wizard. Doesn't
you
matter.
said That's So Wizard at the top, but
okay, that's fine. Doesn't matter. I'm going to change the name of my document then.
There you go.
Yeah.
This was super fun. Did we get through all 15 of them?
We got through all 15.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice. Love it. This was fun. This is a good one. I think this is something we can maybe come back to. Maybe I'll give you some of these one of these days.
Sure, of course. You know what I'll do? I'll even I don't know why I started, but I'll share the document with you, which is already shared with you because it's in our shared folder, Frank.
Great.
And so it's all good. What a wonderful time this was. So Frank, thank you for joining me on That's So Wizard, Annie, where you win nothing. But
just like every other game we play.
Right, exactly. Just my continued love and support through whatever happens in life. So, Frank, where can the people find us?
Well, you can find us at beerwithgeeks.com. That is our home on the internet for all things. From there, you can find a link to Patreon, patreon.com/thoughtbubbleaudio, which is how you can support this show if you want to throw us a couple of bucks. and help us keep the show going. This and all of the shows at Thought Bubble Audio. You can also find a link to thoughtbubbleaudio.com where you'll find the other shows. Shows like Supergirl TV Talk, which we're very excited will be coming back in 2021. Shows like Hate Watch with Us, where they are doing some hilarious commentary on the things that they love to hate. You can find Academy Rewind and Read Up, where Tim gets to talk smart about movies and books, respectively. It's great. So you find all those shows there at thoughtbubbleaudio.com. You can find us at Twitter, at Beer with Geeks, or Gmail, beerwithgeeks@gmail.com. And please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to your podcasts, whether that's Google Podcasts or Amazon Now or Stitcher or Spotify. Anywhere that you listen to podcasts, you'll find us, and we would love it if you would rate and review us, especially on Apple Podcasts, where it really, really helps us to get discovered and helps people find the show. And just tell a friend about it. Say, hey, I heard these two idiots drinking beer and trying to decide which version of Yoda they like best. Whatever, just tell a friend. Those are all the fun ways that you can support us, and you can find us on the internet.
Well, that was very lovely, Frank. I think you really spoke eloquently about where the people can find us. So I look forward to finding you next week on Beer with Geeks. So until next time, cheers.
Cheers.